Noella, we are live with Sweet Tea with Emily. Hello and welcome.
Hello, thank you so much for having me today.
So excited. I usually try to have them the last week of the month, but I wanted to give your kind of topic extra attention. So I extended it for a couple of weeks and let everyone get back from the fourth and settle so that they could be here and see this. So, Noella, what can I get you to drink?
Well, I'm having some chai today. I'm usually a coffee drinker, but I made some chai tea today with a little splash of cream, and I'm loving the aromas and the change of pace. How about you? What are you drinking?
I'm a chai girl. Actually, I love chai, but I'm actually having a sweet tea. And I it's a cold brew sweet tea.
Ooh,
So,
like
yeah.
it.
Yeah, you just put in the bag, put in cold water and you got it's a zero sugar. It's got probiotics in it. It's delicious.
Love it.
So, um, anyone that's watched these knows that I always pick on my guests and I shamelessly make you introduce yourself. So tell everyone about Noella and your background and what you do.
Sure. So I'm a lawyer by training. I started my career over 15 years ago as a public defender. And I think my takeaway from that experience was that I was working in a very broken justice system that often wasn't taking into account and treating the root causes that were bringing people there. What I saw was a lot of poverty, a lot of substance use, a lot of mental health issues. And I felt like this cog in this really broken machine that wasn't creating good outcomes for people. And then I would see some of my clients do that hard work to get treated, to get well, to get themselves out of the criminal justice system. And a lot of people just running into brick walls when they try to do really basic things like rent an apartment or get a job or volunteer in their child's school, because these old and often really minor records were still holding them back.
Goodness. I mean, Noella, I've told you this, and I think you've heard it probably from a lot of people. I have done some really stupid things in my life, right? I mean, no one's perfect, right? No one is perfect. Thank goodness, you know, I didn't have to deal with misdemeanors and felonies and have that uphill battle because it's one thing after another that's preventing them from really moving on from the past once they've decided that they don't want to do that again, right?
Totally. And it's a lot more common than people think. There's 70 to 100 million Americans here in the state of Utah, over 800,000 Utahns that are struggling with some type of misdemeanor or felony record. And in a digital age where 9 out of 10 employers, 4 out of 5 landlords do background checks, this is just coming up at every moment in a person's life. And it can feel really discouraging when you're just encountering a lot of closed doors, when you've done the hard work on yourself to get sober, to get well, to try to do great. And the message that you're receiving is you're undeserving and you're never going to be able to do anything better.
And having that door slammed in your face multiple times and still not relapsing and still choosing to stay clean and still choosing to wanting to be like a, contributing member of society and support you and your loved ones financially and not being able to do that. It's just talk about the amazing character that comes out on the other end of
Oh,
that,
for
right?
sure. I always say to people, the people on our platform have incredible grit. Some of these people have overcome homelessness, rebuilt their lives from nothing, really transitioned off of generations of government assistance, and tend to be in a place where they are doing well, but they're struggling, but they're working full time. People on our platform have 5 to 10 years of solid work experience. It's just they're underemployed. They're looking for a few dollars more per hour. They're looking to make enough to support their family. They're looking for something full time instead of
Maybe
cobbled together part
oh,
time. Uh-oh, did I disappear?
You did. I don't know if it was me or you, but you're back and I can hear you great. I was trying to cover, but I thought, well, this could be my internet. Um, I will say, whoever said this, they love what you're doing. Absolutely. So let's just give a little bit of history. Let's talk about where Rasa started, how
Yeah.
it's evolved, and where it's at now, because we're getting into some really good stuff here.
Yeah, totally. So even though I've practiced law for a long time, Rasa's relatively new. So started Rasa officially at the end of 2021, and then it took us about a year to build our tech platform. So we are a tech solution, and our mission is to make it simple and affordable for anyone who has a criminal record to get through that legal process, which is in Utah called an expungement, to get their record cleared so that they can primarily get back into the workforce. Everyone that uses our tool, we ask them, what's the main reason you're trying to clear your record? And there's all kinds of reasons. But the number one reason by far, over 90% of people want a better employment opportunity. And so what we have on our platform is a really active and engaged group of job seekers who are looking for their next role. We launched our platform in September 2022. That's when it went live. Have more than 15,000 users across the state of Utah who are in different stages of the expungement process, right? All looking to get that record cleared up. Why does someone want to do that? The legal effect of an expungement is that you don't have to check that box anymore. So we're all probably familiar with that box that says, hey, do you have a felony record? Have you ever been arrested? Have you ever been convicted of a crime? When you expunge your record, you have the legal right to answer no. But more importantly, your records come out of the public database. They come off your Utah criminal history. They come off your FBI record. And so when that background check is done, which all employers pretty much, like I said, 9 out of 10 do, it's going to come back with no records. And that for someone who has that background is such a significant thing. People without records are 63% more likely to get a job interview. And within 1 year of record clearance, their wages go up by over 22%. And so very quickly, almost overnight, people are able to get these incredible opportunities, which is not only good for them, good for their families, good for their kids, and offers up incredible employees to the employer.
Well, and the employer probably has a lot more of these folks, maybe employed with them than what they realize, but they're intentionally trying to remain in the shadows because it is something that they don't feel comfortable talking about, or it was an error of judgment, that they've had to learn significantly the hard way. Your platform really started out going directly to individuals, which still does, but you really are making a shift now to the employers. And this is an uphill battle because let's just face it, right? Employers are like, no way is my company going to be broadly associated with employing criminals, right? That is just what is going to happen and I think very likely could hear. So let's just hit it head on. Like,
Yeah.
what do you say to a CEO that even if they're not saying it, they're thinking it?
Yeah, I would say I know there's a lot of fears around fair chance hiring, and some of those are real, and some of them are just misconceptions. First thing, much more common than you think. Statistically, 1 in 3 Americans, you have people now who work for you who have criminal records. They don't feel comfortable talking about it, but the stats are the stats, right? So you already do this.
And let's just pause there for a minute. 1 in 3, okay? So even if you have, maybe let's just say you got really lucky and you run a background every year, which, we're just being silly right now. It's impacting somebody in your employees' lives, their children, their husband, their wife, their aunts, their uncles. Like, everyone can relate to someone that deserves a chance, that keeps getting the no, the no, the no, right?
Absolutely.
One
And
in
causes an incredible amount of stress among employees, right? I used to be a manager at Goldman Sachs. That's one of the things I've done throughout my career. And seeing in particular parents who have kids that are struggling with this, it takes an emotional toll. Sometimes those kids are living with mom, going through the court system. It's just really, really, really hard. And then when somebody, your kid, imagine, has rebuilt their life and they can't even rent an apartment, it affects that whole family.
Mhm.
And that affects productivity at work. And it's just a real problem that is often invisible because we have so much work to do in making culture, environment acceptable to talking about this. And I think that's because of the stigma associated with a record and this tendency to make moral judgments about people with records instead of seeing that there are many different pathways and not all criminal records are the same.
That's right. That's right. So, I'm a hiring authority. I'm, hopefully on the leadership team with the company. You've come to me and you said, I really think that you could benefit from Rasa's services. Um, we want to work with you. And I would imagine that initial reaction is no, but really to go and stand in front of all of your employees and saying, here's why this is good for us. Here's why this is good for the community. Here's why this is good for 1 in 3 Americans, and the type of access that every single one of you are going to have to this service by our association with it, and talking about it and hitting it head on and what it means. Talk us through that process of how that evolution happens.
Absolutely. So I would recommend a book to everybody, actually, called Untapped Talent, which was written by an economist. And the first thing that I would say is that it really, to be successful at fair chance hiring, it needs to come from the leadership level. I did a lot of fair chance hiring work for the mayor's office, helping people review their policies, figure out how to do it, work with HR. And I can't tell you how many CEOs said, I want to hire people with felony records, but I don't want anyone to know. And my response was, then I don't think you're going to be successful. Because how do you feel like it feels for someone with a felony record to feel like their employer is ashamed to hire them? And what kind of environment are you bringing that person into? So you need to do it. You need to decide to do it. And then you need to roll it out to your company as not only the right thing to do, good for people, which research shows that over 90% of employees would be proud to have a policy like this because it is so common, right? If it doesn't affect them, it affects someone they love. But roll it out in a way that it's not just a good thing for people, but for your business. And I think we have new data from SHRM, from other sources, showing that 85% of HR managers believe that people with records are as good, if not more qualified, for people in similar roles, but their retention rates on average are 12% longer. And that makes a lot of sense to me as someone who works with criminal records because they've been through a lot. They have incredible grit. They need this job. This job is often for them a difference between, one paycheck away from being homeless. And they don't want that. They've worked too hard. And so when work gets hard, they're willing to put up with it. And they're so grateful for the second chance that they have this loyalty to employers who are willing to offer them the opportunity. And so it really then turns into less turnover for employers, right? Highly qualified talent in needed roles that right now sit open, are not being filled, and not filling them. You think about healthcare, right? Is a greater risk than hiring someone who's been crime-free for several years, who happens to have a criminal record and could come in, fill that role, kill it, do a great job, and add value to a company.
Well, and Noella, the leadership's going to have to remember their purpose in this, right? There is a business purpose for it. There is a social justice. There is a community justice. And I think the place of fear always goes back to, I'm hiring a felon yesterday that did something really bad. No, these are people that can go through this, you can get expunged, right? We've talked about this. So the companies can put in the criteria here. You can talk about it really openly. You can let your employees know who they're going to be surrounded with. You can't let them go to that place of fear. These are people that made a mistake a long time ago, have gotten the door shut in their face time and time and time again. They are committed, they are ready, they are loyal. They would be so grateful for that extra dollar, that extra $2 an hour. And that's what this gives them, an opportunity to seize the moment. What is a good employer? I mean, you have how many folks in your database? How do they get the word out? Tell me about posting, advertising it, jobs. How does it work logistically?
Yeah, so we have about 15,000 people on our platform. And what we've started to do is work with employers to advertise their open job opportunities to our engaged 15,000 job seekers that are looking for opportunities. And we have the ability to do that now in a really targeted way, because we are asking individuals as they're using our platform what industry they're working in, how long they've worked in that industry, what wage they're making per hour, what education and skills they have, just kind of like what their background is. And that can help employers find what they're looking for, because we also have access to their criminal records. If employers have exclusions, which many do, and I get that as having worked in compliance, like certain roles, you can't hire people from certain backgrounds, right? We have the ability then to exclude those with backgrounds that an employer wouldn't be able to support for those roles. So we take a hands-on approach with the employer to understand what their hiring needs are, how many openings. I would say that we tend to have the most success with larger employers that have a lot of open roles looking to fill, but across all sectors. And on our platform, we have people who have customer service experience, retail experience, construction. And there's not a field, I don't believe, in America right now that isn't experiencing a labor shortage. And so we have tons of talent on our platform. For a monthly fee, you can advertise your opportunities. And then those that really have the most success, not only then hire that person if they feel like they're a good fit for the company, but create a record clearance program to support them. And so for not a lot of money, an employer can say, don't just come work for my company. I won't just hire someone with a criminal record. I want you to have upward mobility. I want you to stay. And maybe with a criminal record, you can only start as a bagger at a grocery store, right? But if we can get that criminal record cleared, if it's eligible to be cleared, I'll help you clear it. And then maybe you can become a cashier. And that just ability to retain someone. The record clearance process takes 6 months. Our software is fast, but we can't speed up the government. So you're able to, and a lot of employers I talk to have high turnover at month 3. So now we can bring someone to month 6 because that's the time that it takes. And that's one of the reasons they're taking the opportunity, is to get rid of that record. And when we first started, people were like, oh, this person's going to become so much more marketable, they're going to leave. But the opposite is happening, because they've never felt so seen, so supported, and that somebody finally is going to see them for what they have to offer, for their potential, not some 20-year-old mistake they made in their past. And so what's happening is employees are now becoming incredibly loyal, saying, I have other opportunities, but I'm going nowhere because this employer has offered me my freedom back. And it's really incredible to see then how that changes the whole company's culture and feeling about fair chance hiring, because this person is also a high contributing employee who's adding value to the company. And now this company is doing something really good and positive for this person. And now maybe these other people who have criminal records, who have loved ones who are struggling with it, feel more comfortable talking about that, and supporting each other in an environment that really fair chance hiring can thrive.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, can you just imagine the evolution of that cycle where a company that has maybe a lot of entry mid-level positions, that they can't fill, that they get new candidates, they embrace this, they talk about it, they finally get an employer that gives them a chance and then takes them through the process, clears their record, and hopefully even puts them on a foundation where they're secure enough to talk about it and share their story so others can have the true evolution of change, so they can enjoy, climbing the ladder into that job they wouldn't have been able to have previously. It's just a full cycle of life, and it's so beautiful. Like, there's a reason, Noella, why you and Rasa are on all the cover of the magazines and getting all the attention that y'all so much deserve. I'm so proud of what you're doing. Two quick questions. So average pay of folks in your database, kind of give me some demographics. I know there's outliers with every.
There's definitely outliers, but most people on our platform are making about $70 to $20 per hour. And like I said, their main goal is to make just a few more dollars per hour.
Did you say 17 to 20 an hour?
$7.
Seven to 20 an hour. Okay.
And years of work experience. So I think another misconception that I'll just throw out there is that someone with a criminal record is stumbling down that jail ramp, has no skills. A lot of CEOs are like, has this person ever used a phone? Are they computer literate? People on our platform have been working for years. They're just underemployed, and because of background checks, they can't advance. But they know how to clock in and out. They know how to work hard. Some of them have multiple jobs to just make enough to support their families. So these are hard workers, but also people who have work experience. We're not talking about someone who has been, incarcerated for many years and has never seen a computer before.
Right.
That is not people, but that's not who we're talking about.
They are underemployed. Is really, and the employer is not talking about it, not recognizing them, not promoting it, and using it as a handicap. You want to talk about employing this person, promoting them, clearing their record, and giving them a win. Like, it's incredible. You don't have to go into the cents, but you said about 6 months to determine whether or not the government's going to clear the record. What approximately is the cost of that? Kind of give me an idea of that. I'm just, we want to see how financially feasible this is.
Yeah. So relatively low cost. We provide flat rate services for $250 per case. Depending on how many cases someone has, sometimes it can be hard to price out. And so we also have employer programs where if they sign up to bring a large scale record clearance process, like regardless of the number of records, we'll package it so that we can put it into a budget and make it predictable. But it's very, very affordable. I mean, companies provide all kinds of benefits. And if you compare the cost of that to this, but then also the impact of really, truly giving someone their freedom back, you can't put a price on that for some people.
Oh, Noella, I mean, you've told me the price before, and I'm always like, it's so for employers that will spend tens of thousands of dollars on my service, right, for headhunting and recruiting. Now, given I'm specialized senior level, but there's those outliers, and for someone to come to you directly and go through the process of getting that removed from their record, they don't ever have to disclose that to me. And that's the beauty about all of this. We had a question here on chat. What states do you operate in? What's the future plans?
Yeah, so we launched in the state of Utah. So we're statewide. We can serve all counties in Utah. And in December, we launched to our second market, which is Arizona. So currently, we're just live in those two markets. Q1 next year, we're aiming to expand into North Carolina. We're in progress there now. We hope to go across the country and really be a national solution to this problem. Because state law differs, because court data differs, it's not as easy as there's one source of criminal records and we can get them all and do this everywhere. It is a state-by-state game, but I'll be doing another round of fundraising this fall, which will allow us to expand to a handful of states across 2025 and 2026.
Well, hit me up. I am so in and so supportive and so proud of you. I think Bob said it really well here. This is truly one of those things where everyone wins. Said beautifully. I completely agree with that. As we conclude, Noella, anything that I can do, the community can do, our watchers can do to kind of support you, bring awareness, get the word out, encourage employers to consider this, what can we do?
Just spread the word. Our employer offerings are pretty new still. We're having a lot of success with the ones we have, but very eager to connect with employers who have large scale hiring needs, get you on our platform, get you connected to the incredible talent that we have. I really cannot say enough about the quality of the individuals that we interact with. And when we meet them, almost always someone will say, please don't judge me. I know you're going to look at my past and you're going to make a lot of assumptions about who I am. That's not who I am. And by the end of the process, to see their own confidence come back and just like the incredible skills that they've developed over all these years, I just want to connect that to employers. You are missing out. Check out the book I recommended. It can talk about, risk, safety, the concerns. I've done a ton of this work. So if you even just want to talk to me about how to do fair chance hiring or what some of your concerns are, there aren't any stupid questions. There's real concerns. This is new. So I'm here to help. I want economic mobility for people who often are born into poverty. That's what I've seen. They deserve better, and our workforce and our economy needs it. So reach out, spread the word, rasa-legal.com, hit me up on LinkedIn. So grateful to be here. And thank you, Emily, for having me for this conversation.
So grateful. Noella for president, just saying, we might make it happen after how energized I am for this. No, I really appreciate what you're doing. I think there's a lot of great comments here in chat. I'm going to I'll tag the book. I'll also put the flyer. We'll spread the word. I'm trying to do an event with Noella this year. I'm telling everybody to invite her to their events to talk about what she's doing. So we'll keep spreading the word and keep building and growing. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Bye, Noella.